Come out wherever you are.
You're listening to League Do-Over, CapeFear 1991. I'm Matt Durson.
And I'm John Hunt.
Clay and Katie over here.
Thank you very much. We had kind of a bit of a layoff there, but we're back to
We're
do the second.
Now.
We were laid off, but
No,
the second part of our do-over, of course, we did CapeFear, that's a 1962 version. Now we're going to do the 1991 version, directed by Martin Scorsese, starring his buddy Robert DeNiro. And
you should have mispronounced DeNiro as well. I know the Scorsese reference.
DeNiro. Oh, I don't know. And of course,
call him Marty.
NickNolte. And Marty.
What are you doing over there?
Sorry.
Dicking around.
Sorry. I'm getting all my shit together. I watched this movie like 3 weeks ago or whatever. So whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
I call him Marty.
That's all right. It's not your fault. Things happen. Marty directed this. It came to 182.3 million gross. That's pretty crazy for a 1991.
This was a popular movie.
Yeah,
it was popular, and I'm not going to jump ahead to final thought, but I will say that I was a fan of this movie when it came out, and I would watch it, and my thoughts have evolved. And if I were to put like a tagline on it, I would say, this is the same guy that did Goodfellas.
Yeah, and it was right around, when did Goodfellas come out?
It was like 1990.
Was it 90? I think it was 90. Yeah, like this came out the next year. Like maybe he just I think that's part of it with me too. We'll get into our thoughts, but
not all of his movies are great.
No,
I mean, some of them are good, but like they're not all great. Shutter Island is okay, but it's not great.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of movies. He can make a lot of mistakes. He's Marty.
He's Marty. But like, it is funny because this doesn't seem like it just doesn't have the kind of things that make a Scorsese movie, other than Robert De Niro, I guess.
Yeah.
And IlleanaDouglas, who I actually didn't know that they were dating, but so that's why he put her in everything.
Oh, okay.
Spielberg actually wanted to do this movie.
Well, it's Amblin. They're Amblin Productions.
Yeah. I guess he didn't
want to
direct it. But it would have been a much different movie if Steven Spielberg directed it, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. But I don't know. Also, we have to remember, so like coming off of seeing the 1962 version, which I think you guys were way more high on than I was. I didn't mind it.
I really liked it. Yeah, with it needed some character development, whereas I feel that this movie needed less character development.
Yeah, keep something's a little mysterious, maybe. I don't know if that, because we're going to compare and contrast as we go along, but I don't know if that affects your opinion of the movie either. To be like, wow, they really.
No, I saw this in the theater with a weird dummy. It was on a double date. And at the time, I was like,
weird dummy.
Well, there was my weird dummy,
man, right.
And then it was my friend and her weird dummy because they got married and now they're divorced. So yeah, I guess there were multiple weird dummies.
Yeah, as long as it's an X, that counts.
Yeah. So, and I remember at the time going, I didn't really care for it much. I didn't hate it, but as Clay, my thoughts have evolved for the worse.
So you didn't even like it then?
I didn't like it then, and now I despise it. And I'm sorry, because I saw that this is a well-regarded movie. I was looking at reviews, and I was like, I must have watched a different film because I was just having a very difficult time getting through.
I wonder about that too. 75% on the critics on Rotten Tomatoes. 75% positive and 77% the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. So that's a pretty good score, for a movie that, I don't know, like seemingly is just.
It was at the time. was hot at the time, and I think it was always. I'll get this story I promised from the last episode out of the way really quick. But I've always kind of had a major crush on JulietteLewis.
Well, and a major crush on JessicaLange.
Yeah. And
age difference there, huh, for you guys.
91, how old are we? 10, 16 or
She was the same age as me when it came out.
I think she was playing 15, but she was
playing younger. Yeah. She was 18 and was a fully fledged adult because she had emancipated herself from her parents and took the role. Drew Barrymore and Reese Witherspoon both auditioned, and she took it. But anyways, I'm going to get my Juliette-Lewis story out of the way. She's in a band called Juliette and the Licks, and they're like a kind of thrashy, sort of punky, like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs kind of band where she sings. She played at the Middle East where I was working at the time, and I watched Soundcheck, and I don't know why, but it's gross and hot at the same time. She came out into like, like in Soundcheck, there's like no crowd there. So she came out to where the crowd would be and was singing and like seeing if she could sing out there and the mic would feedback or whatever. But there was like a trash can and she was like singing, blah, 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 and then like spit in the trash can. And I was like, oh yeah, that's hot, baby.
You took that trash can home.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe create a Juliette-Lewis clone from their spit.
But I was like super psyched. I was like, oh my God, Juliette-Lewis is here, which is probably how the ladies felt when Ryan Gosling brought his weird Disney horror band, the Dead Man's Bones, to the Middle East, and all the girls were like, oh my God, Ryan Gosling's here. I was like that when Juliette-Lewis was there.
I understand. I liked Juliette-Lewis was in Natural Born Killers, which was one of my favorite movies back then. So it was like my favorite movie back. So yeah, I had a Juliette-Lewis phase. She does seem like, I don't know, like she's kind of the character.
I always felt like her lips, like she got punched in the mouth. Like
maybe someone stuck a finger in there, like a thumb.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The fact that she's playing younger. And, well, I was at the height of my horniness when this movie came out. And the fact that she is playing younger than she actually is, to be fair. But, like, when I was watching this movie this time around, I did feel a little, like, creepy. Yeah. I was like,
well, I mean, I think that's the proper feeling that we were supposed to. That's what Marty was going for. All right. Well, we should get into the plot and stuff here. But I do love that story, the Juliette-Lewis spitting story. So glad. Anyways. We start with the opening credits, and John, this is a joke only you and I will get, but it made me think of a watery grave.
Yeah, yes.
It's just like water.
I was like, what is the deal with these terrible credits? And it's by your buddy Saul Bass, too. He was one of the guys that worked on the credits, Clay.
Oh, I know. And I was laughing along just to include the audience in there. Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah, that was so funny that time you guys kept making that dumb joke.
Anyways, it is I feel like it was very 90s kind of credits.
This is like this whole movie is 90s.
I was thinking it's 90s, like it's like 80s on the cusp of 90s. It felt very 80s too. The cars are a little bit boxier.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can't tell if it was filmed in 1983 or 1993.
I guess it's true. It is dated regardless now when you look at it. And we have this voiceover, which was kind of like a thing I suppose they did a lot back then too. This is kind of pointless voiceover. Juliette-Lewis is talking about, you go to CapeFear or something. I don't know. She just has to drop the name of the movie, I guess. There's nothing really. Just kind of a weird.
Well,
she doesn't do it through the whole movie.
It bookends the movie too. Like she starts it this way and then ends it. And in both instances, I don't think it works.
Right, because it's not something that she does throughout the movie. It's just the beginning and end.
Right, it would be different if she did it through the movie, which she does not.
Right,
instead that would be like spitting in trash barrels.
So hot.
All right, so we get to see Bobby DeNiro, Robert DeNiro, MaxCady in this version. Of course, the RobertMitchum in the OM. They show him working out. He's got all his tattoos. I don't know if any of the nerds out there spotted. He's got Black Bolt on the wall of his prison cell. Whatever.
I noticed that.
That was a weird
one. Saw Captain Marvel or something.
Maybe it was
wall too.
Yeah,
pretty sure it was on Black Bolt. But anyway,
male Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
the original Kaz.
not that woke shit.
No, none of that. but also, I remember, like, I don't know, I must have watched like iTunes digital extras on HBO or whatever when I first saw the movie, because I was more likely I just saw like some behind the scenes making thing, like on
Entertainment Tonight or something.
Entertainment Tonight, and they were like, and I thought it was really cool at the time. I'd never seen it. It was like, did De Niro really get those tattoos? You know, like they were fake,
Right.
but you know what I mean? Oh, another thing about his appearances, and this is something I'm also very sensitive about, was that De Niro went to a dentist and had them fuck up his teeth for like $5,000 to make the movie, and then he paid them $20,000 to fix them after the movie.
That just seems like a dumb waste of everything.
Yeah, but he was like really into
teeth. Even looked that bad, to be honest. It's not something I noticed, you know.
But that was a trigger warning for me when I read that.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So anyway, yeah, he's got all these things. He's got like Vengeance and whatever. Like, and he's got 2 Nietzsche books, you know, on the shelf. Supposed to be like, oh, Vengeance, but he's got Black Bolt and Captain Marvel. Like, what is that supposed to be? Oh well, it doesn't matter.
Tattoo says "Die Bart Die."
Yeah, no, the bot, the. It's in German. Go back and listen to our Simpsons.
German. Yeah, they can't be evil.
That's right. All right, so of course he is paroled and he leaves.
I would like to say here, I actually have notes this time, and in my notes, in my notes it says "stupid skies."
Oh yeah,
and here's the first case of the stupid skies.
It's a lot of it's just to symbolize against the storm is coming.
Yeah, it's like composite shots that don't work.
I think this came out the same time as like Wolverine Weapon X, and I was like, I was like comparing. Yeah, the comic book like that came out like in like 8 pages at a time, and I was just so into grim and gritty stuff back then.
Yeah,
it was the 90s.
Yeah, so what is this? I was trying to figure out how that ties into CapeFear, but yeah, okay.
I just grim and gritty. Yeah, just grim and gritty, and like visually, I kind of almost thought of like De Niro's CapeFear as like a proto Wolverine in a way.
Well,
not G.I. Joe,
not Star Trek,
not James Bond, not Seinfeld.
All right, so anyways, we meet JulietteLewis. They go to the house. She's all young, as we said. She's very bubbly. She's like talking about housekeeper. We have to introduce the housekeeper now. So that's Chekhov's housekeeper or maid or whatever you want to call her, I guess. I don't know. And then we see JessicaLange as the mom. What is she, like an ad exec or something?
She's like an advertising illustrator or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, designing logos, which is very difficult to do.
Oh, well, yes. Clearly, she's having some trouble. It's causing some trouble.
Call on Saul Bass for some help if you
Hey-o.
So now we see NickNolte, who is the Gregory Peck part in this one. And he's coming out of the court with the guy from Die Hard 2.
Yeah. Didn't that guy, wasn't he a senator too?
He was actually a Canadian, I don't know. I'm not going to say prime minister. He couldn't be the prime minister, was he?
No.
Fred Thompson. He died in 2015. He was some kind of Canadian politician or something, though.
I thought he was even Canadian politician.
Real. American, where's that?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Elbows up.
Yeah, poor guy. Anyway, good for him. You know, it's just to establish that he's a lawyer and whatever. Not really much going on there. We get the scene where MaxCady is smoking in the theater. They're watching Child's Play.
That happens way sooner than that's Problem Child, isn't it? Child's Play.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Child's Play. I think it's
that's a lot. That's all it comes to life. Yeah.
Right.
I was like, why would you go to that movie? Like the whole family.
It's still weird that he laughs. All right.
Either should have been crying.
Katie's lighter is like a girl with boobs and they light up. Yeah, pretty awesome.
That timing of that horn was great. Light up.
Talk about boobs.
Oh yeah, that was me over here.
So, anyways, it's similar to whatever, he's smoking and laughing, but it is kind of funny that De Niro's laugh is really, he's loving this crappy movie, or is he?
I think he's just not loving this crappy movie. He's being a jerk.
Anyway, yes. So they go to get some ice cream. The family, the whole family. So the Heller
To
family are there.
Get rid of that awful taste of problem child to go get ice cream. Like a palate cleanser, literally.
They go get ice cream, and MaxCady is paid for it. What a jerk! It's so evil. I can't believe. So they do another, like, I don't know if this was a 90s thing or just an old horror movie thing where Heller goes out and he's just gone. He's like, hey! And the guy, you know, Max, he's driven off. So he's magic too?
Yeah.
Like,
I learned magic in those 14 years, counselor. And then he pulls like a quarter from behind his ear.
All right, so now we see Heller is playing a little racquetball with IlleanaDouglas, who we mentioned earlier, dating Marty. She's in like every movie of his. They're getting a little chummy, you know. She's getting a little grabby, you know.
Yeah, she wants
racquetball is the horniest sport of the 80s and 90s.
I mean, NickNolte's still in good shape. This is before he looked like a homeless guy. I mean, he's still pretty mumbly, but he looks good. I mean, if they show him with his shirt off at one point, he looks in relatively good shape. You know?
Yeah, he was fine.
Yeah.
So he,
not
but
my
he's
type.
like,
I don't like his glasses.
I mean, he wasn't. Yeah, like he looked later.
I'm always falling for a guy that's married. Stupid, so stupid.
I know, but he tries to like put her off a little bit, be like, "Oh, my wife doesn't even know you exist," and all that. So, but she's kind of like, "Oh, what? Yeah."
But then he's like, "Let's play racquetball again tomorrow," and get all sweaty.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. A little racquetball. So we have the scene that was in the original where Katie comes out and takes the keys. He says, like, I mean, so do you think is Heller like, does he really not recognize him, or is he pretending not to recognize him? I guess or is he trying to just play it like, you're not bothering me?
He seems like he doesn't recognize him, but I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably right. But he says, well, you look about the same. I think although I do like, he makes a joke about like an average man gains a pound a year after he's 60 or something like that, or until he's 60, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, I gained a few more than that.
Yeah.
And DeNiro really slimmed down for this too. Like he really super worked out for the thing and had like less than 3% body fat.
Damn. I mean, they do the strip search thing later, and they show him all buff and everything.
Yeah, he could have been working for Chippendales.
I know he's got this funny little speedos on. Anyways, yeah, so he's like, well, you have a nice day, Mr. Cady. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And he says, you're going to learn about loss. He's like, what? I said you're going to learn.
You shouldn't have driven away while I was talking.
About floss? Floss?
Yeah, floss more. You're right. I learned dentistry 14 years. All right, so we see JulietteLewis is in summer school because she got caught with some pot. She was smoking a weed, as my dad would say. Yeah, grass.
I forgot about that. Smoking a weed.
She wants to go to like the houseboat or whatever. They just have to drop like, oh, they have a houseboat. I should say Sam Bowden. I kept saying Lee.
Yeah, you were fucking up the names, right?
I fucked up the names. I'm sorry, everybody. Sam Bowden wants to go to the boat. Sorry about that, but this is a weird thing. Like, it goes to like black and white for a second.
This is in my notes too. It's probably, and I've got to, where are my damn notes?
Well, because we have, Sam and his wife.
Weird camera tricks / negative effects. I'm just like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, like the what do they call it? The diopter or whatever. He's when he's brushing his teeth. And that too, like camera trickery.
Yeah,
there's no real reason for it.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of
Scorsese kind of thing, you know.
That's what it seemed like. An art student, like a film student, was making this, or first-time director. A lot of these weird tricks.
They banged, by the way, Sam and
with
Jessica
the fireworks exploding in the background.
I know. So it's funny. It's weird though. She puts on some lipstick, and then she just kind of wanders around the house. She looks out the window, and there's Katie, and there's fireworks all around him.
Everything is.
They're like right around his head.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like it's not even the 3rd of July yet. It's like, It's actually just April.
Well, yeah, I know.
The
right?
night before the fourth.
Yeah, it's like Abington used to have. So of course they go out there and he's gone.
Gone. He's gone.
Gone.
And then she like rubs off her lipstick. She's like, "Well, that's it for you, mister. You didn't tell me that there was a guy stalking us. I'm not gonna." The chastity belt is on. I mean, yeah. So he tells her all about him. So wait, I forget if it's now or later. Yeah, when he says now, when he says like he didn't do all of his due diligence when he was representing MaxCady, which is also a different thing because in the original he was a witness, testified against it, right?
Well, yeah, okay, I'll explain that part. So he
is it going to be about Godzilla and rubbing the glove?
What?
No, I was just adding a little flavor to the point that Durson was going at. So he was Katie's lawyer, and Katie was like on trial for rape or assault. He knew that the girl was like kind of promiscuous.
Right.
So he buried that evidence, didn't tell. And if, as a lawyer, you're supposed to tell both sides, you're supposed to reveal everything. And that's like that's really illegal to like know something and not have revealed it. That could have helped Katie's case. He was representing Katie. Right. So that's why he has this whole vengeance against him, because he didn't, even though he was going to be sent away to jail for 14 years, like he could have probably got a reduced sentence, like if he knew the history of this girl, kind of like a slut shaming kind of thing. But that's what happened.
Yeah, right.
And also Katie at the time was illiterate, so he figured that it was safe to bury that evidence and not tell him about it.
He'll never find it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that is, and yeah, but Sam defends himself by saying like, this guy was a bad dude and he needed to go to jail. Like this guy was so yeah, that's why he kind of threw it. The Die Hard 2 guy, he says, "Get me Lee Heller." No, Lee Heller is played by Gregory Peck.
Yes.
But in this, yeah.
But we don't really find out anything about him until much later.
And Sam is actually, though, a lot less of a goody-goody in this one. That's why I do kind of like that.
Yeah, everybody is actually pretty terrible in this movie. They're all fairly unlikable, you know what I mean?
Well, you want to add, but you're right. They added a lot of characters.
It was like too much drama, you know?
Yeah.
Can they sort of like each other instead of just hate each other's guts? It's like being stuck in a car on a trip with like a couple fighting. You know, you're like, you just want to sink into the back seat and roll out the side or something.
Why don't you drive?
So he does find out, like that MaxCady did learn to read, and he studied law, and he knows, like, because they have another meeting here. MaxCady knows all this stuff. He knows that he threw him. And of course he's checking out girls on the street when they talk. What about your daughter? But then he says, "You ever been a woman?" Which I thought was funny. I mean, obviously he means he was raped in prison. Anyways, Sam tries to buy him off, and he breaks it all down.
Same as the last movie. And contrast.
Yeah, same as the last movie. Same as it ever was. And contrast. Yeah. But he says, when you break that down, that's not even minimum wage. Which is kind of, I forget how much he offered.
I think he said $10,000.
Yeah.
Which pretty much the same as Gregory Peck offered Robert Mitchum.
Right. But it's the same thing. He's got money. They can't do the bust him for vagrancy thing. Oh, because also we have the same deal with this one. The dog is murdered.
Oh, that's just
murder!
I said I didn't murder.
So, but like maybe they try again to bust him for vagrancy, which is something I never heard of before we watched the last one, and I assumed it was something they did in 1962. I can't imagine. I don't know. You do it in 1991, but maybe. And we get the strip search scene as we talk about. Yeah, and he's wearing his little Speedos, and they look at all his tattoos and everything, and the scales of justice and all that. But yeah, they determine that he has $23,000 in the bank. So you can't bust him for vagrancy.
Here's a little knowledge drop that while Mitchum and Peck were both doing cameos in this movie, at this point in their lives did not get along, and they did not share any scenes, and they didn't talk to each other on set at all.
Oh, no.
So sad.
That's a little, yeah, that's sad. So we get like a parade. I don't know if it's
You know what I love about
July.
the parade is it cuts to the parade and it plays. I'm like, well, that's weird parade music. They really lean into the theme. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, he sees MaxCady watching from across the street, and Sam just walks right through the parade.
And then they're all like, "Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd NickNolte go?" I was like, "Directly in front of you, right across the street."
Right across the street.
Like he's the guy starting a fight right there.
Well, yeah, that's actually what Sam does. Start the fight. I mean, he makes some kind of comment, like off. Katie makes some kind of off comment about his family or whatever, and Sam shoves him, and then like they all have to hold him back, and Max is like, "I ain't doing nothing. You're lucky I don't sue you." But it's just more of the needling, like we had in the first one. But here's where it gets
just exactly like the scene on the dock.
Yeah, exactly.
The last one.
Except he's not smoking a cigar. Maybe he was actually. I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
He was drinking a Budweiser in the original one.
I know he was drinking a Budweiser, yeah. So anyway, now we have IlleanaDouglas is out drinking with MaxCady. She's saying, "Oh, this is a married guy," and all that, like you said. But he stood her up at the club. They were gonna go play racquetball. So now she's all like, drunk and sad. They're joking around or whatever, and he tells her that yes, he's been to prison, but he was arrested for punching a cop at a protest. What a nice guy. So they go to her home, I guess. I don't know. Whatever, someplace. And she's just laughing the entire.
She's kind of an annoying
drunk.
I feel bad for her what happens, but yeah, I mean, geez, it was an interesting acting choice. She just laughs and laughed and laughed.
Everybody's making interesting acting choices in this. Let's all be over the top.
I guess so. So yeah, he handcuffs her and he's like, "Oh, whatever." And then he breaks her. He breaks her shoulder, I think it looks like, or pulls out her shoulder. And then he bites a piece of her face.
Yeah, that's not so nice.
Not so nice. And then they show him from the window, like the window silhouette thing, just punching her. And I mean, it's terrible. In the original, it was just, we never saw him beat her up.
It cut away just as
they cut away, shut the door.
I don't know. Is
both ways I think are effective.
I guess. I don't know. The biting of the face.
I didn't need to see her get bitten in the face, but it does have an impact.
I guess you're right.
It looked fake as hell, but I mean, it's still.
Again, Silence of the Lambs.
The tattoos look real.
That's right. They do. There is one interesting thing here. I mean, not one. There's a couple of things in this movie, but so Sam is wondering about some piano wire that went missing from.
Yeah. Because he's always just noodling on that thing.
Yeah. So then he gets a call, and they said, "Oh yeah, Katie beat up this woman." So he goes to the hospital and he sees her all beat up, and he's like, "Oh no!" And they're like, "You guys know each other?" And so it's sort of like the cop's kind of like, "Oh, you guys doing it?
You guys doing the nasty?"
Yeah, because that's Robert Mitchum, right?
Yeah, that's Robert Mitchum.
Are
And
you
nice
guys
eyebrows.
playing racquetball?
And
You know what I mean?
Wink. The horniest of all sports.
Apparently, according to Clay, yes. But it's just, as in the first one, she will not testify. But this one is kind of a little more. She has, because she works
has more of a reason.
Yeah, like because she works for him in a legal office, she knows how they treat witnesses. Like they'll say, "Oh, she was out drinking with him and flirting with him all night and all that stuff." And they're going to drag up all that stuff, and she doesn't want that out in court, so she will not testify.
A deliberate choice in the script, like when they were developing this version, because it was going to be more of a mirror of the original version, where it was like a drifter was who got attacked, but then they made it this character.
This does have a little more emotional impact, right?
Yeah,
when it's someone and it's someone who had a thing for him.
Yeah.
Robert Mitchum suggested him, like, maybe you handle this outside the law. That's what they did to me. No,
but I reformed, and look, now I'm police commissioner.
Yeah. So Sam's not going to do it. He's like, no, I can't do that. And he says, well, pardon me all over the place.
I couldn't remember exactly what he said, but yeah, I was thinking of like The Simpsons where they're all like, la-di-da, college girl.
So now he hires JoeDonBaker.
I'm going to say this about JoeDonBaker. He is the highlight of this film for me.
He's great.
Wow.
I know, that's low. Mitchum.
No, it's fine.
I mean, Mitchell. Mitchell is the highlight of this movie.
That's right. Hey, go back and listen to our GoldenEye episode.
And did we do Tomorrow Never Dies? Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah, he did Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah. Anyways, this one he plays Claude Kursick, and Kursick was the name of the cop in the first one who got killed in the swamp.
Ah.
So they just used that character for JoeDonBaker instead. That name. Private investigator in this one. He finds out all this stuff. He finds out there was a murdered prisoner, that they could never really pin on him. It's like, well, how do you not pin it on him? There are cops all over the place in prison. I don't know. Anyways, it is kind of interesting. So at one point Sam calls IlleanaDouglas in the hospital. He's like, hey,
I'm sorry, but
he's on he's acting all suspicious. And JessicaLange overhears, and she's not too pleased.
In a weird shot too, her reflections in like the window or something.
Yeah. Right when you said that, it was playing on my iPad, like her reflection in the window.
So we're right on cue with the iPad. She does say infidelities. She does use that term in there as she's yelling at him. So I guess Sam has gotten around a little bit.
Yeah, but he's it's one of those classic things where, like, in Medias Res, they're just kind of like, I told you all that stuff was behind me, and we went to therapy a bunch, and I really haven't cheated on you with her. Honestly, though, really haven't. I haven't. Played a little racquetball.
Yeah.
Played a little racquetball. It's going against the law.
You know what racquetball means?
It is funny because there is a funny line though, because he tells her, she works with him. He says she's a clerk, and she says, "In what? Fucking?"
Yeah,
so you gotta not know him.
Yeah, no, it's right next to the anal clerk's office.
Oh, God. So then there was like, an interesting thing though, because he kind of tries to throw it back on her and be like, well, you wouldn't leave the bedroom, or I don't know, insinuating.
Yeah, but I could say the same for you.
Yeah, he definitely wins this fight. I'll tell you that. But
they always do.
Yeah.
Even just let them think so.
Well, by God. Anyway, so he says, like, MaxCady did this knowing that she wouldn't testify, knowing that he did it to get to me and whatever. But he's like, we talked about
and to make us fight.
Yeah,
and to make you suspect that I was playing racquetball with her, if you know what I mean.
And he's like, but it is kind of a funny. I know this isn't like a Scorsese thing, but I thought it was kind of funny because he's like, I'm glad we talked about this. And the next shot is him sleeping on the couch.
Yeah,
didn't work out too well.
Yeah, there's also that cut over to JulietteLewis talking on the phone to her friend in her bedroom, and I need to point out an inconsistency.
All right,
Jane's Addiction's Been Caught Stealing is playing, but it's Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, I pointed that out to Mrs. Elder. I was like, what is going on here? Why is
I know that sometimes that they do that post release because they didn't get the right, they got the theatrical rights, but they don't get the digital rights to the songs. So no one's gonna notice.
There is some sort of Guns N' Roses thing in her bedroom next to her at some point.
That is true. Yeah, she has like.
There's another inconsistency at one point where JessicaLange buttons the top of her shirt and then it becomes unbuttoned again.
Patent pending.
Yeah.
My no prize is because she's listening to Guns N' Roses.
That was my theory
MTV
in my head.
Muted. So no prizes to both of us.
All right.
A new sleeve of racquetballs.
So we got to JoeDonBaker's out having some breakfast, and it turns out it's paid for by MaxCady.
I could watch JoeDonBaker's character just eat breakfast bought by MaxCady all day long.
I can watch that all day.
That slobby dude with his newspaper. I think they're all reading USA Today, and just
I think so.
farting away and shit, you know. And he would blame it on something else. I know.
Oh, he doesn't even eat it. He
waste.
goes outside. I know, it is a waste. Goes out and he sort of confronts him and he says, "Were you a cop?" You know, whatever. It's just to kind of show that Katie's on to all this. You can't get one past that guy. I'm going to assume he went back in and ate, right? I mean, do you think he was
he's like,
I mean,
he's the guy
kind of
that would
waste.
be like, fucking a free meal. I'm not.
I'm trying to take a look here that you can't really see it, but it looks kind of like he's getting the hungry man, you know, like the egg, the toast piled up, you know, maybe some bacon.
Exactly what you'd think you'd get. With a Bloody Mary, you know?
Yeah. Black coffee.
Anyways, so he drives over to the Katie house and JessicaLange is out picking up the mail or whatever. He says, "Hey, excuse me, ma'am, is this your dog collar?" Another dog had just died a few minutes ago.
Poisoned.
So he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I can see him cuddling up to you while you're trying to finish your sketches." So he basically gives himself away, which I don't, whatever.
Well, he wants her to know that.
She's like, "You're MaxCady." But he could have been sneaky. He could have been a little more sneaky. It doesn't matter.
I do have to say a highlight for me in this is De Niro's wardrobe for the most part, with the exception of his camo outfit later on. But maybe it's because they have longer hair. But I'm like, wow, he looks really good in a Hawaiian shirt and a Hawaiian shirt and a Paul F. Tompkins hat. You know, like he looks really good in like those bell bottom. And it's like,
your birthday's coming.
Is he is he just wearing that stuff because it was stuff that he had before, or did he just buy a new outfit and just
maybe?
Like an absolute crazy person?
He went to the crazies though. Maybe. I mean, if he was in prison 14 years, styles, come and go. Let's just say.
I did notice that
fashion come and goes. Style is different.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You're right.
And he's wearing a nice like Western shirt too when he gets out of jail and he walks up to the camera. And then when I was watching the Simpsons episode, that Sideshow Bob does the same thing. He walks right up to the camera. But when De Niro does it too, he like literally is like, you can see him almost going, "Did you get it?" Right out.
And you can also see. You know what I mean? You can also see that like where they superimpose the sky behind him too. There's like a outline around him that just looks bad.
Yeah, like Weapon X, like I was saying.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, he's talking to JessicaLange, JulietteLewis. It's like, "Mom," and he sees her, although he probably already knows, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
We don't know that he knows.
All right, I'd like
he's
to
been in the house because he stole the piano wire, and I was going to get to that later, but okay.
Oh yeah, I have a note here, and it says, "Why am I watching this movie?" And then I have another note that says, "Why is this movie so bad?" I'm sorry, people that like this movie. I don't get it. I don't get why you like it.
77% of you out there.
And I can also, here's another note. I can relate with the 14 years thing because that's how long this movie feels like to me. All right, that's it for this portion of John's notes.
Having not rewatched it in a long time, I would have said, "Oh, that's a great Scorsese movie." You know, my thoughts have evolved.
That's what.
But like my memory is different than the actual movie itself.
I have the world's greatest note for the end of our final thoughts.
Can't wait to get there, but we're a long way away because
14 more years of the shit.
Yeah, right. We're about 13 and a half years to go. Anyway, so that night, MaxCady calls JulietteLewis on the phone, pretending to be her drama teacher, and he's like, "Oh, will I?"
Answered.
Yeah, maybe she had her own line. I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah, and what is he? Mork from Ork? He's like hanging upside
down. She's in like a nightgown and it's all like shouldery and everything, which is, it's weird.
Very Lolita.
15.
Listen to our Stanley Kubrick.
And then he plays Do Right Man. I don't even know that song.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't know it either. I don't know music, apparently. I didn't know any Christmas songs.
Christmas songs. It's all right. I didn't know if you guys had any knowledge drops.
I figured Clay would know.
I didn't know that song. I was more still. By this point in the movie, I was still thinking about why they weren't playing Jane's Addiction. because that song rules. I don't even like that.
Funny though, because they make it seem like you should know that. You know what I mean? It seems like it's a thing he's using her to.
Well, Mrs. Elder was thinking it's got to have some sort of like hidden meaning,
Right.
because
It's
they're
got a
all
little leader.
stealing stuff in
Right.
the video. And like, I don't know. Ooh.
Yeah.
But that must have
Yeah.
just come out though. Like that
Yeah,
was
that
a
was a new
contemporary
song,
song. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mine, oh mine.
Anyway, so she goes to the theater to meet him as he told her to do the next day. She's all,
Yeah, she walks down the creepy hallway to get to the theater. I was like, who put the theater in the boiler room? You know?
yeah.
Knowledge drop on this scene if you'd like to hear
Oh
it.
yes, no, drop
Well,
that
this is
knowledge.
like the scene, right? Like this
Yeah,
is
this
like the
is-
one,
Like
yeah.
the
This is-
cow or the chicken.
right?
Yeah.
The scene.
So they filmed it in one take, all improvised. Was more going to be a scene where Max was seducing her, but they changed it to be like the big bad wolf thing, and then of course it is the scene where he's
I see.
originally like
Right.
they improvised all the dialogue and they kept the first take. So
Well, I mean, that's interesting, though. That is, yeah. I mean, this isn't. De Niro is he's a little toned down in this scene. So I
Finally.
guess, yeah. Maybe you're right. They talk about Thomas. He gives her a he's smoking weed, and he knows she likes it. I guess so. She takes a little bit. She's like, oh, I don't know, my parents. Like, well, they're punishing you for their sins. But I mean, she figures him out. Like she
I
knows
also
who
like
he
to
is.
point out that he puts it out on his tongue.
It's a pretty weird thing to do to a
Yeah.
joint, I
Yeah.
guess. But you know,
I've done it.
A weed.
a weed.
I'd put a weed or two out on my tongue,
I just
especially if the cops are coming. JoeDonBaker's coming.
so you can little
No.
body Joe Don.
It was just ignite the whole room.
That's how they burn him at the end.
But he says he didn't kill the dog. I don't know. So. And he's, can I put my arm around you? And she's like,
This is why we
Yeah.
get Durston to play all the women in
Yeah,
audio
right.
comics, because that was perfect. Pitch
so
perfect.
thank
Talk
you.
about Norman Miller and Tropic of Cancer and
Yeah.
Sexist, and, all the sexy books that I was reading at the time.
Oh, really?
Only
I never
because
read-
she
Sexy
was.
Probably.
So he does the thing, like we said earlier, he puts a thumb in her mouth and then he kisses her, which is actually like the big, whoa, that's weird. You know, you're 15. But and he just leaves. Yeah, Sam now he calls JoeDonBaker and he's all mad. But now he wants to hire the thugs.
He's like, yeah, since you got a free breakfast, I know you got a little extra money to throw around to these thugs.
It's right.
I left a
Now-
tip. It's my JoeDonBaker impression.
So he goes to a restaurant where MaxCady is, and Sam and MaxCady have a similar to the original, where they have a little face to face. But he threatens. He says, "There's gonna be problems or something." He said, "Can you say that again?"
A little closer into the microphone,
Yeah,
please.
can you? I mean, you're a lawyer, man.
Also, it's not legal to record. You can't use that as evidence.
Right.
Voice recording, like you can.
I
use,
guess if
you can
anything
use
happened to him, he could say, "Well, I
Oh.
mean, this guy wanted to." I don't know. You're right.
Depending on which
Movie.
state you're in.
well, there we go.
There we go. And where are they? I think no,
Georgia.
These guys are in a,
Georgia.
These guys are in an awful state.
They're in a state of stupidity.
Max says something about forcing him to make a commitment to his family or something. I mean, he's all like, "You're tied down" or whatever. I don't know. It's not as fun as the first one, but I mean, it's fine.
Because
But
at
then
no point in this movie does NickNolte say, "Shut up, you."
I know that's disappointing. But he does that-
My cousin here says that nothing's too good for his old pal Max.
I know that was funny when he kept ordering more drinks on the guy's tab. But anyway, so he tells him to check the Bible, the book. What is it? The book between Esther and Psalms, which is the book of Job. For you Bible people out there.
Never did care for Job.
Yeah, never cared much for Job. I thought of that too. Sam goes home to talk to his daughter about what happened, and he's like, put some clothes on.
And she's all like, oh, he's dreamy with his weird teeth and his greasy hair and his 1970s fashion.
He was in Goodfellas.
He just wanted to connect with but yeah, I know. She should have said all that. Yeah, and he gets all mad. This ain't your Joe. And he grabs her by like the chin or whatever.
And he grabs her by the boobs.
Oh.
No.
Oh, wait. There's no horn this time. And she says, get.
That's a very uncomfortable scene.
It is.
Very, very awkward. You know, what are you laughing about? So wipe that smirk off your face. And he like, he doesn't hit her, but he like is.
But you get where he's coming from. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're supposed to show that Sam is very agitated by this guy. Yeah. And I kind of, I mean, we don't have kids.
But that poor girl, you know what I mean? Like, she's like, oh, Dad.
Right.
She's like, get the fuck out of here. She's a teenage girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. But Sam's losing it. I never made a note of it, but he smokes constantly throughout the movie, and he starts to look more disheveled, like as the movie goes along.
Yeah, until he looks like Bruce Banner's dad at the end of the movie.
Until he looks. So now we have the scene where the thugs come and they start beating up MaxCady, and Sam is watching. I know. It's like 3 guys. And Sam is like watching from behind a dumpster. It's like, do you need to watch?
He looks like such a cuck back there.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. And his I'm like worried about Max's Paul F. Tompkins hat, like gonna get blood on it. It's nice and
I know, right? But the fight is in the fight though. I think I don't think this was like a 90s thing. It's shot very weird to me. Like it doesn't look real.
It doesn't.
Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like an old 70s kung fu flick or something.
Yeah, that's how I was feeling. And then when then he beats them all up after after it's like somehow
like
turns the tide.
Type like a million times.
It's like a Batman thing where it's like he never gets exhausted. He can take on 10 dudes even after like getting his ribs
we get to see all the superpowers like really come to fruition at the end of the movie.
At the end, yeah.
And then NickNolte trips over a can or something.
Yeah, and he goes or whatever. It makes a noise.
And Mrs. Elder said, "I would have done just to cover up."
He literally looks like his wife is going to catch him.
Yeah.
Stealing leftovers or something. He's like, like when he makes that noise. And of course, Katie knows it's him. And this was in all the trailers and everything. It says, come out, wherever you are.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Sorry, my voice keeps cracking all of a sudden. All worked out. Whoa, I'm going through puberty, just like, because I was like, teenage Juliette-Louis Dreyfus. I mean, Juliette-Lewis.
and then like he's like, it doesn't even matter if you're here, and he just leaves.
Right. But anyway,
I gotta say though, he's got like a nice place down by the waterfront. That's not bad.
So anyway, Sam tells Joe Don, no more guys. Don't hire any more guys. They don't work. And he tells. I don't know. There's something about, I kind of don't even know what this storyline is. There's something going on with the guy from Die Hard. And he's like, I won't commit perjury or something. I don't know. I don't really exactly know what the story is.
It doesn't really go anywhere.
It's kind of the same as in the last one where like the bar association is going to like disbar him and he needs to come up with this plan to just, use his family as bait and everything.
Yeah, well, we do have, as I mistakenly mentioned earlier, Lee Heller is Gregory Peck, and that is Katie's lawyer, just like we had in the other.
Yeah, but NickNolte's going to call him to have him as his lawyer, which it doesn't seem like the Die Hard guy would recommend this kind of sleazy lawyer who dresses like Mark Twain,
Yeah, and when Katie's all beat up from those guys. And he does have him on tape threatening him. And he also uses the word heinous, which I don't think is a word. I thought it was weird.
Southern way of saying it.
Maybe you're right.
Heinous. I do declare.
Yeah, he is. He's all like Southern and like religious. He sounds kind of like, what's his name from
Foghorn Leghorn?
Foghorn Leghorn. Yes.
Well, I do declare this heinous assault on Mr. Cady shall not go without repercussions.
You don't sound enough like Sam the Eagle.
That's a different character.
A different bird. A woman.
Hey.
So, yeah, they're gonna get a restraining order on Sam Bowden. So
also the judge is the cop from the original.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, the other big cameo for this one.
Very good. So they're gonna petition for Sam's disbarment. So he goes to
disbarment.
I forgot the Gregory Peck. I forgot the Gregory Peck impressions we were doing. Shut up, you. That's the other one I can do.
Now I do declare you should shut up, you.
So he goes.
King
Joe
Solomon
DonBaker
could not have adjudicated more wisely, Your Honor.
Yeah, even Gregory Peck is bad in this movie.
He didn't want to run into Mitchum and have words.
Like, I gotta get this done quick.
He's like, I gotta tie my mustache, leave the rest alone, and then get on with my day.
I gotta go.
Am I getting more than day rate for this, Marty?
All right, so Sam goes to Joe Don, and he wants a gun now, and they had this whole plan.
Look at your hands.
You've been counting money all your life.
That's not all about. Let me look at those firm, tight, manly hands.
Well, they run me of sausages. I could go for some breakfast.
Oh, God.
There's a 24-hour diner around the corner. Let's go over there.
I'll size up your gun to your hand. Just picture gripping it. Just grip it.
The way I grip a fork when I'm eating breakfast.
You're so
I cannot stop. Sorry.
The way I grip a Jimmy Dean.
If you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So anyways, they hatch this plan because they're going to, if Katie breaks in, because like, it's pretty similar to the original.
Yeah, pretty
much.
much.
If he breaks in, they can shoot him or whatever. So like, Sam is going to like pretend he leaves
Dog
town.
dead. Shoot him, dog dead.
Dog dead.
You have to bring up the dog being dead?
Yeah, too soon.
A little insensitive.
So yeah, it's basically the same one. So Katie follows him to the airport, and he
does the same trick. Yeah,
the same trick. But actually, she says, "I can't tell you."
Yeah,
like,
finally, someone doing their job until she doesn't.
And then she goes back on it. Yeah, he tells her a whole sob story.
If I was her, I'd be like, "I'll go get my manager, and you could talk
right."
to them." I'm not.
Put your neck out there, sister.
I put my neck up for nobody.
So anyway, yeah, but like, so he kind of hides in the back.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
It's really weird.
It's more NickNolte the cuck.
Yeah.
So there's something going on when they get to where this JoeDonBaker is. I mean, this is in the house. I should say. Like,
can I just also point out the fact that the amount of shots that they show of them closing their shutters in this, I was like, they just did that like 18 times in this movie.
They don't want to see the ugly sky.
Oh yeah, that's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. From here on, it gets pretty bad. So anyway, JoeDonBaker is in their house now, and he's setting it all up. I don't know what the deal is. He's got this teddy bear and some fishing wire. And he's like, if the teddy bear moves, then I can.
Yeah, you know, it ends up looking like the fucking gopher from the beginning of Caddyshack when it's dancing. That's what I was thinking. I'm all right. Nobody worry about me.
And she's like, "What's that?" It's filament. It's from his fishing kit. It's like it's fishing line. Yeah. Well, the bear moves just right there. I know
when you say it's filament.
I got
they
it.
Also do that.
At Joe's bait and tackle.
All I was thinking about when you were talking about the shutters was that he had meticulously gone around the house and put a bunch of tiny holes to screw those little hook things in.
Yeah.
And it's just that's just JoeDonBaker doesn't respect wood. I mean,
No,
you're gonna have to
No,
spackle
right.
that up and
I
You're
also-
sand
right.
it down. Paint
I also feel like I'd end up like walking through like a spider web or something. Like, God damn it! I get caught in this fucking filament again.
I would be the first one to trigger that, and then JoeDonBaker would just shoot me.
Yeah.
Be like, oh,
That's
gonna
right.
Hey,
oh,
there
I
are
for-
worse
oh, I
ways to go
forgot.
than having JoeDonBaker shoot you.
That's true.
So yeah, they're building a lot of tension here. First she's
On
reading
filament.
Book of Job.
You should really say it should be in quotes, building tension. Because
They're
it's like
trying to build
it's like
tension.
scary music and it's showing a close up of a teddy bear. It's actually rather humorous.
I know, that's the weird. This teddy bear is an interesting choice. Yes. So JulietteLewis, he's talking to the housekeeper, got to establish that she's back and whatever. And then they have this weird thing where like JoeDonBaker and Sam Bowden are just there. They're talking about fear of killing, and it's like, well, it's the South. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? Like,
Yeah.
we kill down here. It's all good.
Yeah, he's basically like, I'm a proud boy in the making.
The 1991 version. Yeah. And they make the housekeeper, they don't want the housekeeper to leave. They don't want anybody to leave and screw up anything or whatever. So, but then the teddy bear moves, and JoeDonBaker springs into action.
Yeah, well, it's just
That's what
just
I
the springs. More like
the wind.
more like waddles into action. It's like a weeble.
Springs. Tightens the whole thing. So Sam Bowden, he fell asleep. He wakes up, he looks out, he thinks he sees MaxCady, and it goes black and white again, which is very bizarre. But
Yeah. Then he's like, I knew how he killed the dog, and then never says how.
I know. Well, he thinks he was in the house. That's all. He's been in the house.
Yeah.
But then we get this. I don't know. We cut back to JoeDonBaker. I think he did this earlier too, and I didn't mention it. But he's
Pepto
drinking
and like Jack Daniels. Or
Jim
something.
Beam.
Yeah, Jim Beam. Yes.
He said
Yeah.
that's what my dad said. That's what my dad used to. He was overnight.
Yeah.
Something or other. Surveillance.
Yeah. Whatever. It sounds. First of all, Pepto is pretty gross on its own.
Yeah, but Jim Beam and Pepto might be all right. Might
Maybe.
cancel each
Hey,
other out. Who knows?
Shouldn't judge. So, anyways, yeah, he's talking all about it with the housekeeper, whose back is turned, and she turns, and it's Max.
It wasn't obvious at all.
And he said he got in touch with his feminine side when he was in prison, so I guess this is what he meant.
Yeah, I guess
Mhm.
came in handy.
So he's-
finally.
So he strangles Joe Don with the piano wire, which, I guess a reference to, it could be any wire. You know what I mean? He could have just brought some wire with him. I don't know.
But it's more evil this way.
Yeah,
More
piano wire,
sinister.
It is.
classic murder weapon.
Death by piano
Yes,
wire.
it is. But then he also shoots him, so it kind of...
Look, it might as well make sure the job's done right. Yeah.
Yeah, piano wire is great, but bullets...
Yeah.
Those,
If you want to
really
get the
work.
job done, deliver.
But that
PVC.
just wakes up Sam and his wife.
It's like
and they
that.
go
It's like
down.
Santa Claus with the power tools.
Yeah, just right. Right
Maybe
here.
it's a bad move, or maybe you want it to be heard.
They go down, and he sees JoeDonBaker is dead, and the housekeeper is
Ella
dead. He
Louise is
slips
dead.
on the pool of blood. Eloise?
Ella Louise. That's how I just named
Ella
it.
Louise.
This
He slips on the
turns out to
blood.
be a big fucking mess.
And then
He
this
slips,
turns into
and
the
she
Three
slips.
Stooges skit
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
But yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, kill that son of a bitch." That means he's serious.
Yeah.
He called him a son of a bitch.
NickNolte is very good, by the way.
Thank you.
You should use that as an audio comic
Years
voice.
I've been, we need to use that as
Because I know you can do grumbly NickNolte. Oh.
no, really, but that's not that hard. It's they're excited. Anyway, so now they're getting out of there. They're going to pack up the car and go. And this is, they talk about jumping the shark and stuff, right?
yeah,
This is it.
Mrs. Elder,
And
she was like, "Are you fucking serious?" I was like, "Well, the Simpsons version of this was
where
actually
did you think
quite
he got
funny."
the Simpsons?
Yeah.
The Simpsons got it. So he ties himself to the bottom of the car.
And thank God they didn't
And-
hit any speed bumps or
Well,
no
they
one
didn't
was
drive through the cactus field
yeah.
like Homer did, but
No one's like, you got something under the bottom of your car. Like that woman does see him when he gets out from under the car, and he just
right.
gives her a look. But I'd also like to point out, here's another note: NickNolte is wearing a Blockbuster Video outfit coming up. The 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 khakis and the blue shirt.
So they drive to CapeFear. And yeah, Katie comes out from under the car and he combs his hair. Hey, he wants to look good.
Yeah.
I will say that as my thoughts have evolved, I always thought that was super cool when he did that.
Your thoughts, have they evolved to the point where you think it's more cool or less cool?
I think you're right.
I think it's kind of less cool, but at the time I thought it was cool. And then like I just noticed like how jacked up the car was this time around. Watching it, like it's definitely like
they were like on they're riding the Bigfoot 4x4 truck, on their way to their monster truck rally.
So they get in their boat and he's watching the boat leave, and whatever.
And then Max straps himself to the bottom of the boat, accidentally drowns.
That would be awesome. I'll just have to try that again.
Worked once,
Yeah. So of course it's like raining, and they're having dinner. It's raining. They're on the boat. There's like a noise. Sam goes out to check, and Katie grabs him, and he's like right outside the window. It's like a bad horror movie thing. It's like
he is so dopey.
You see him kicking around, and the wife and daughter are kind of just in there hanging out. They're like
not noticing.
Yeah. So it's kind of even like a comedy, like I said, to help you get through the movie.
Yeah, there was a scene, I don't remember which one it was, but it felt like a Sam Raimi kind of thing where it was like doing like close-ups on like quick zooms on like closing the shutters and locking the doors.
One of the YouTubers that was talking about this movie also said it was like, it's kind of like a Sam Raimi kind of cuts and stuff.
I watched no reviews about this because I didn't want people to be defending it, and then I would have been getting angry about it.
You don't want the next 3 months to be like looking at like.
I don't want to be seeing CapeFear.
And to be honest, maybe we'll get a lot of views on this because there weren't a ton of reviews of this. Usually there's a lot, but
I read a couple. I watched a couple. I should say one of them was like evil. It was like a philosophical thing about evil. I'm like,
I feel that if this gets posted and anyone watches it, everyone will hate me for not liking this movie. I'm really sorry, everyone.
Nobody.
In my final thoughts, I'll tell you what I did for this movie because I was so committed to it.
There you go. We'll get there.
You dyed your hair. You had your teeth fucked up.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he chokes him out, kind of like Kursick in the original, and then he takes the gun, he pulls up the anchor, and the boat is on its way.
And then you get a bunch of like
the anchor,
kind of bad model shots in some of these.
He cuts the anchor, and the only reason I'm pointing that out is because in screenings of this, they didn't know that the houseboat was. They added that later. They added that in reshoots.
Really?
Yeah, and people are like, "Oh, now it makes sense."
So he goes inside. I guess I forgot to mention he had left a book for her, for JulietteLewis.
Like,
where's my book at?
Sexist.
Yeah, it was
Norman Miller. Norman Miller.
Sorry, I didn't think Norman was right, but he didn't want to say anything. Norman Mailer. He wrote Tropic of Cancer. So they talk for a bit, and they had mentioned making tea. So JulietteLewis ends up throwing water on him, and he says, "You offer me something hot." So anyway, MaxCady, even though he has a gun, right? He takes out a flare. I don't know. I guess to show that
He says something about something.
It like melts all over him, or whatever, and doesn't burn his hand because he's
a supervillain now.
He's a supervillain.
He's fucking Jason Voorhees all of a sudden.
Weapon X.
He's Weapon X all of a sudden.
Yeah, he is. He's Proto Wolverine. So he locks the daughter in like another room or like hole. The hole. All right.
Probably the toilet. No, that's not me making a joke. Usually the toilet is like down like that.
I don't think he locked her in the toilet. Right. That's just a nautical thing. The movie's in the toilet.
The hole is
but
where,
anyways,
like Han Solo and Chewie hide in.
Right. So he goes for JessicaLange and he says something like, I don't know what this means, but he says, well, I mean, I know what he means, but I don't know why he says it. He says,
he's like, let's play some racquetball,
darling, and you'll be speaking in tongues. So I'm like, wow, that's a good one. God. So he starts like kind of molesting her. So meanwhile,
NickNolte has to force to watch through the window.
Right.
As he's wont to do.
Again, that's the theme of the movie. Huck Nolte.
Yeah, and he's also got some kind of fetish about violence, I guess, because he watched him get beat up. So anyways, JulietteLewis grabs some lighter fluid that's in there.
Conveniently.
Smart.
He goes after he handcuffs JessicaLange to like a pole thing. He drags Sam in from the outside, and he's all tied up, whatever. He gives him another kick, which is nice.
You like seeing Nick Nolte get kicked?
Nah, I don't have a problem.
You're like, it's nice.
He deserves it.
Yeah, she said she kind of starts to sweet talk him. You know, she's like, yeah, sure, she'll fuck him. And he uncuffs her, and he
also, like in the first movie, the wife says like, take me, not her. This is kind of replacement for that. You know, take me, you know, we have so much in common.
Right. And then so he lights his cigar, and JulietteLewis takes advantage of that. She squirts the lighter fluid all over him. And he bursts into flames. Flame on! And then he runs out and jumps into water. Well, no, he wished, right? I mean, it would have been fine. Then if that was the end.
He looks like another Weapon X program graduate, Deadpool.
That's right. He's all scarred now.
Hey, if he turns into Leatherface now.
Yeah. So, because he grabs onto the rope that their anchor was attached to. As you pointed out, Clay, he cut it. So there you go. So Sam goes out to check on that again, and Katie's there. Like, it's so anyways, he has the gun still. He points it at the family or whatever, and he's like, and he asks if he threw the case. And this is like the most. This is when the overacting really.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because he's like, he looks directly at the camera when he's like, "Your Honor." You know, I'm like, I that was where I was just like, I just kept saying, I hate this movie. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
I mean, this is the. I told you, like, the end is insane. How much like the overacting and just like how many times they kill him and he comes back with like. Meanwhile, so like the boat is going all over the place, you know, and as is Robert De Niro. But anyway, so he points. He points the gun at the two women. He says, "Take off your clothes," or whatever. And then so the boat hits a rock and it like spins around very. And my note was even the boat is overacting.
Wow.
So the woman, you know, JessicaLange and JulietteLewis jump out, and now we have the fight. Sam. Yep.
I don't even understand what happens here. You know, like the boat gets cut in half by a rock, and then NickNolte flies.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I was like, what is going on here? It makes no sense.
Yeah. The camera goes upside down at one point, for like no reason. I don't know.
So there's like, did the boat just do a somersault?
Yeah,
it's weird.
So the boat is absolutely smashed into a million pieces.
Yeah.
By my account, we've got 8 minutes left of actual movie.
Oh, that much still?
So like Katie gets the gun, but Sam handcuffs his foot to like a pole. Oh well, and then like literally like Katie's gonna shoot. The gun goes flying, just literally like flying. I wrote like, and the boat crashed and smashed. It's I wrote very Jaws the Revenge. It's just shots of like water and stuff, and Sam goes woo, like you point out, but Katie's still foot cuffed. But he's not dead, even though all that shit just happened. And
but I'm okay.
Neither one of them are dead.
Right.
And the girls are okay too.
Well, they jumped out earlier. I forgot.
I know, but still, like,
yeah,
they would all have been dead.
Right. Like, but anyway, so Sam, he gets a rock and he smashes her in the face. And then Katie throws a rock at him.
That was the best part.
Rock
It's just, it's like, hits him in the head and he's like, ow. Hey, don't quit it.
Ow, quit it.
I think he misses him with the big rock, right?
Yeah, I
He
guess.
gets
Well, he
kinda,
gets the big rock.
pulled
No,
out
he smashes the boat.
feet.
Yeah.
So then
Right.
the part that Katie is handcuffed to kind of floats
Yeah.
away.
This is my favorite part.
And this is where he's
he's just like his eyes are just, his head is mostly submerged except his eyes, and they just keep cutting back and forth. And I said, so what you thinking about? That was the joke I've been waiting to say all episode.
No, I figured that was
Excellent.
I hope it was okay. Hope it was worth the wait.
Yeah, he was singing at one point as he was going
speaking
down.
in tongues or
He
something?
was speaking in tongues, yeah.
It's I was just like, hurry up and die, for fuck's sake.
One thing that De Niro also did to prepare for this role was hang out with evangelicals and learned how to speak in tongues and had someone coach him on being super Southern
Wait, for real?
Baptist religious. Yes. For
this,
3 weeks.
One scene?
No, for the whole character.
Get into character.
Oh.
Character.
Method.
Yeah, so he's watching him as he sinks down. Down, down, down.
Down, 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 down.
And then Sam washes his hands in the water. He's all, my bloody hands.
And then JessicaLange is all fucking sensual mud wrestling woman. I was getting all I was all getting hot and bothered. It's she's all rubbing up against JulietteLewis, and I was excuse me, I gotta go be alone for a minute.
So then we get the JulietteLewis voiceover again. It's kind of, as you say, to bookend. And it's all weird black and white things.
It doesn't even make sense what she's talking about. She's like, I don't really think about them or dream about them, but that's okay because you don't want to live in the past. And I was like, what the fuck does any of this mean?
This guy molested you. He's going to murder your family. We don't really think about that much.
Yeah, it does. Wasn't one
Housekeeper
of our
was
favorite
murdered.
songs.
JoeDonBaker
she
murdered. Just the absolute trauma for a 15-year-old girl to go through. She's like, we're fine now.
Yeah,
everything's fine. How are you?
How are we indeed? After watching CapeFear.
Well,
I think we know how John feels.
Yep, pretty much. I give this movie an F. I'm sorry, everybody that likes it. I just don't see what you're seeing. So I bought this movie on DVD from on eBay, and so then I went and left bad feedback for the seller, knowing because he sold me this movie, knowing how bad it is. No, I'm kidding.
That's how it's supposed to work.
I love when people I didn't like this movie. It's well, yeah, but that's not the seller's fault. Everybody's
okay.
And yeah, unfortunately, the movie worked fine. Everybody in this movie is overacting. All the characters are unlikable. The ending is fucking ridiculous. It's just it's out of a Friday the 13th movie, one of the ones where he goes into space or something. It's just I don't understand the weird visual tricks and stuff. It just is. I didn't like it. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. Sorry and ashamed.
You know how I feel all the time. No, just kidding. But,
just disappointed. So I'm giving it an F. Oh,
that's
giving it an F, and no one is going, you can't rate something an F. You certainly can.
I gave the original an A-, and I feel maybe I overrated that one, perhaps. But now, looking back on it, I'm like,
in contrast.
Yeah.
In contrast.
I was like, that was a fucking masterpiece compared to this. I'd get hate if we had any listeners. Maybe Scott Pemberton might get mad at me.
Well,
if he was a real person.
It's okay. It's okay. It's just, we're just giving our opinions. These are final thoughts, not final facts.
Right. It's just my opinion. If you like the movie, that's great. I wish I did. I just didn't. I wasted $6 from the Goodwills.
You can try and resell it.
I don't even want to put someone else through this.
I think, I mean, well, here's what I before we get to the other final, here's what I want to say about the 77% or the 75. I mean, like, how many of those were from 1991? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or around that time where you said, Clay, I have a different, what was you have evolved, your opinion has evolved. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I really liked this movie at a certain point in my life.
Well, I wonder how many people would feel the same, like watching it again. I don't think it holds up this part.
No.
I think it was better in 1991, like in a weird way, you know? I don't think it holds up at all. I think it's, yeah. Anyways, should I just segue right into my final thoughts?
Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah, I don't think it, I remember it being a big deal in 1991. Oh, Robert DeNiro is so evil and he has tattoos. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that was a
but
big.
I think this was kind of the start of a lot of the like, sort of like The Simpsons obviously aped this. But I mean, as far as other movies doing like, oh, the bad guy just won't die kind of thing. You know what I mean? I think this was kind of part of it. Like he keeps coming back, keeps coming back. Obviously, the first one, he lives. MaxCady lives and lives to go to prison because Sam thought that was the worst punishment he could possibly. And maybe that's better, right? Than I'm gonna hit this thing and you're gonna float away, you know, or whatever. Yeah. And Sam didn't even really kill him. It was like, you know, because the boat crashed.
The boat killed him.
The boat killed him.
It was the boat that killed him.
The overacting boat.
It was the overacting that killed him.
I mean, I will say Robert De Niro has, you know, as has my opinion of this movie, my opinion of Robert De Niro has kind of evolved as well. This is before he started phoning it in.
Before he was doing analyze this movies.
Right. But
The Intern.
But even when he did serious movies, he would still be like sort of overacting or just, you know, this might have been the beginning of it, to be honest. But like, I think he's having fun. You know, this is probably like him and Scorsese probably got paid a boatload of money to make a movie or whatever. And they're like, yeah, we're just hanging out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh, I'll have Illeana in it too, so we can all hang out together, you know, or whatever. But hey, it happens all the time in Hollywood, so whatever. But yeah, it doesn't make it a better movie. I don't even know. I didn't really think much of a grade because originally I thought like, well, this is kind of a C, but I don't even think it's that good. It's pretty silly. Like, I can't ignore the end. How goofy it gets.
The end actually was the best part for me. Like, even though I was complaining through the whole time, I was like, this is so bad, it's almost funny.
Right.
But
well, yeah, that's and it's sort of famously bad. You know, I mean, like the end is famously funny. You know, like it became a parody. Like, you know, like people want to like make fun of goofy horror movies. Have the villain just keep coming back like MaxCady does, you know. But I don't know. So yeah, I think it's like a D, I suppose. It's not that good. It's just don't even bother. Just rent the original if you want to like watch a movie like this.
I'll say this. I liked Robert Mitchum's portrayal of MaxCady better because he seemed like a real guy. Like he seemed like a fucking creep you would run into in real life. Yeah.
That was like, yeah.
And Robert De Niro was just too much. Too much.
Too much. He's too much. I can only play angry NickNolte. Anyways, that's all I got, I think. But maybe I think of something else. But go for it, Clay.
Yeah, like as I say, I think even like I don't necessarily think that the filmmakers thought they were making a bad movie. I think that the style at the time, they thought they were making a intense, you know, I'd love to hear like Scorsese's like reflections on this or whatever, but like they wanted to go deep psychological and put in these like moral arguments on Nick Nolte's side, like whether he should have done that to Max. And like I think they were thinking it was loftily intellectual when they were doing it.
Yeah, the themes I think are interesting. It's just the execution is.
Yeah. And
yeah,
so,
I think I mean they tried, I guess is right. They didn't go out to they didn't set out to make a bad movie.
yeah, and then it was successful. So maybe he didn't think about it till they made their next movie, whatever that was, but yeah, I mean, I really liked this movie growing up, and like I've always kind of like we kind of get stuck in thinking of like stuff we saw when we were growing up, like Star Wars or whatever. Like you're just like, oh, I just love Star Wars, or you know what I mean. But I hadn't really seen this movie in like a long time, and yeah, like not even watching this analytically for the podcast, like which involves some research and whatever. But like, yeah, I gotta say, like blanket, I really love Scorsese movies, but they're not all great, and this is definitely not good. So I'm gonna throw a D on it.
Oh, I think that's the lowest grade you've ever given.
I'm gonna throw a D on it and just say, like,
D, Clay.
Give it the old,
you know what I mean?
Give it the old racquetball.
Racquetball.
But
racquetball.
If you ask me, even 10 years after it came out, I would have said, oh, I love that movie. I would have given it like a B or something, or an A-, just because it was like a Scorsese movie. But even the masters can't make all great movies all the time. And, it's like, I think that De Niro and NickNolte and JessicaLange and JulietteLewis, like, were giving it their best. You know what I mean? Like, they thought I feel like they were all maybe gaslit themselves into like thinking they made a really great movie. You know what I mean? And that and that like it was a successful movie, and they rode that high, and then just great. I mean, it's interesting to think about how any of those people would think about it now. But
sure.
But yeah, I mean, it just, like you said, it just doesn't hold up. And I think that a lot of the things that you could just say, like 1991 to 2025 things, like the sexual assault, like, isn't cool, post Me Too or whatever, but just in general anyways. But like, just like how laissez-faire they are about it, like you wouldn't make a movie like this now. I'm not saying you couldn't or shouldn't, but like those were the kinds of things that really made me feel like a little weird watching it this time around. I was like, I don't really like this, and I'm not a prude or anything, and I love Juliette-Lewis, but I was just like, oh, this is kind of like a little gross. That it's not appealing to me. Like, it's not. I'm not like, oh, that's like now. If I felt like if I went around and said, oh, CapeFear is a great movie, people would be like, what? Like, that's weird. You creep. You know what I mean? So that's where I leave it. That's where my thoughts have evolved. And I'm grateful that we watched the first one, because to contrast, that movie was awesome.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, right? This isn't just a standard like movie, like horror movie or whatever. I mean, like they had already done a good one, and somebody made it worse. Not somehow, because it happens, but
I guess that's the exercise here, is like we see which one is better, or if maybe they land around the same.
How many of these redos have we done? Is this our third one?
We did Thomas Crown,
we did Thomas Crown and Manchurian Candidate,
and this. So 2 out of 3, the original was better in our opinions.
Yes, in our
Thomas Crown, Manchurian Candidate, CapeFear.
Yeah, Thomas Crown. The remake was better.
Yeah.
And then
Manchurian
Candidate, the original was way
like this one.
Yeah.
Way better. Way better.
So I told Mrs. Elder that we were going to do King Kong next, and we would do the original, the 76 version, the 2005 version, which I know Durson loves, and then the director's cut of the 2005 version, which is like 3.5 hours. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That was the exact reaction I was picturing you would say.
Right. Well, we can do like all 3.
You turned into angry NickNolte.
I'm not watching 3.5 hours of that fucking Peter Jackson bullshit. Like that's a dinosaur fight. Kill that son of a bitch.
Well, we can do like 3 versions of King Kong, right?
Or whatever. I can't do the Peter Jackson one either, but.
Well, what
you guys know that I'm a little
biased 76.
76.
That's the one where I fell in love with Jessica Lange.
Oh,
She's so smoking hot in that movie. I'm not lying. She's like the most attractive woman ever put on film in that movie to me.
oh my God. All right.
I'm biased against Kong.
Yeah, I know you.
But
You hate dumb monkeys or whatever it was. You said
yeah, stupid monkey things. And
he's an ape.
They're like weird dummies, but they're
but no. I'm here for the exercise. It is really. I almost think this CapeFear really puts this experiment to the test. You know what I mean? Like comparing and contrasting
right.
these two
But
movies.
it's much
This
of a
was
gap.
really like a negative reaction from.
Yeah.
Manchurian Candidate wasn't as bad.
It wasn't.
as
Yeah,
CapeFear.
it wasn't as extreme. I think it was probably like C- or D for me. I don't remember,
Yeah.
but
we
were all kind of like, forgettable. But
we were kind of it was
never seen.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Whereas I had said, what did I say in the text? This is the worst movie I ever sat through.
Yeah,
on purpose.
on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting though. You're right. Like when there's this much of a divide between the original and the remake, you're like, how can you not like? I mean, is it a time thing? I mean, how can you not make it? How do you make it worse? You know, I mean, obviously it happens, but I don't know. I also think it was something about the time. I'm looking at some movies that came out in 1991. You know, we have like The Last Boy Scout and stuff. Not nothing.
I saw that movie with the same weird dummy. So yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Sort of
sleeping
follows the
with the enemy
of our relationship.
Backdraft, like, you know, whatever, it's watchable, but there's some things like it's so dramatic, you know what I mean? Like there was this drama thing that the directors felt like they had to just like everything had to be so intense and slow motion and everything.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. You know, Scorsese was like trying to do a thing. Here, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm like a little like almost not like ashamed, but like trying to think about not sorry and ashamed, but like why did I think I'm just kind of like questioning like why did I think this movie was so great for a long period of time? You know what I mean?
You were like 16 or whatever, like we said, or however old we were, you know, and you probably when you saw it the first time, and you were probably like, you know, whatever, it's fine, it's a movie. It doesn't really stand up to like repeated viewings maybe, and also like current sensibilities and looking at it with kind of not saying that we have an analytical eye, but when you're doing it for a podcast, you're like, what am I going to talk about? You know, some things just you have to think about it a little more, you know, like we used to think about comics.
Yeah. Right. See, Silence of the Lambs came out in 91 and that's a rewatchable movie.
Oh, I watch that movie every time it's on.
Yeah.
But that one, Best Picture and Best everything else like that.
But weren't De Niro and Hannibal Lecter up against each other for Best Actors?
I think so. Well, I think
this movie it had 2 Oscar nominations for De Niro and Juliette-Lewis. They both did not win.
I think was in. I don't remember.
JFK came out in 91.
Yeah,
a movie called Fart the Movie, which I just coming across here. Yeah.
I mean, is that part of it too? That it was the style at the time, we know, but like it's kind of a sellout that so many of these side characters are murdered. You know, like viciously murdered.
The second they're introduced, you already that they're gonna get killed.
It makes him so much more of a character, though. You're right. Like he's supposed to just want to get back at Sam Bowden. You know, like. And he's killing all these other people. It just doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't like killing for the sake of killing.
Well, this is literally killing for the sake of killing. You're right. That guy was right. I should have put him in the direction of this movie.
No, you think that's bad? Go watch this.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I want to.
He said that about Pulp Fiction. I was like,
and didn't he rent porn after that? Right?
Yeah. Then he asked for the porn book.
Oh, you know what?
He likes a good story. You know,
killing for the sake of killing. Yeah, he was like, you're gonna make racquetball movies here.
Anyway, yeah.
Can we end this on an appropriate, just a slow, dramatic reading of the movie description for Fart the Movie, and noted that
please put in the theme song for CapeFear behind this when you read it.
Read it as Nick Nolte.
Yeah. No. F.A.R.T, the movie. So, it's got to stand for something. I don't know what. But Russell has two passions.
For something.
Russell has two passions: watching television and farting. He also loves Heather. Heather hates farting.
Oh, Heather.
Fucker. Hold on.
I mean, Heather does it too.
I mean, everybody.
Dumb phone is doing something.
It's like,
I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Yeah, we can. It's alerting us.
I can't find my phone. Okay. Hold on. Okay, let me start.
You talk about boobs, you get horns. You talk about farts, you get dings.
That's like the Mario coins. Okay. Russell has two passions: watching TV and farting.
What?
He also loves Heather. Heather hates farting. The eternal triangle. One day she warns him, if they ever allow farting on television, you'll never leave the house. One evening, he goes to sleep in front of the TV, and it happens. Virtually everything on TV is fart related, from sitcoms and commercials to newscasts and dramas. And scene. Dun, 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 dun.
This movie sounds amazing.
It sounds amazing for about 3 minutes, and then you're like, all right, the joke's
I
done.
don't understand. Is it like in this world, there's farting on TV or something?
With farting
in a world
in TV.
Yeah, I don't know.
Farting on this podcast, apparently. JoeDonBaker's involved. In breakfast. All right, that was a good note. That was a good note to end on, Clay. You're right. Thank you for reading us Fart the movie. Maybe we'll do a podcast on that someday. Yeah. But
do over.
Meanwhile, do over. Check out our past episodes on YouTube or Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. Which I don't even know if it's not wherever. There's probably some outlets we're not on, but that's what people say, So wherever.
Yeah. So wherever you want to listen to thoughts.
It's not coming up on Just Watch, so
there you go.
It could be lost to the video store of your. You probably had a copy in your video store.
I think I remembered that one. Anyways, check us out, LeaguePodcast.com. Wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you later.
Adios, thoughts.
Lady Fox.
I don't want to see you, I don't want to hear you, and I don't want to smell you. Now leave.